The reality has hit. England is on lockdown. It now joins the countries of Germany and also France. The question is whether the United States could be next, as all eyes are on the president and the vice president in the final days before the election. Lockdowns is becoming a political issue, and so is the stimulus or lack of stimulus that could come from it. We already went through the last lockdown, and we saw how little or no stimulus we got from members of Congress. The question is whether this time there'll be a wake-up call, and when the wake-up call will happen in the final days before the election. There's a push for executive orders, and will that push come to fruition? It's a good Saturday afternoon here in the United States, and we're going to get through it because this is Afternoons LALATE. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. I hope you're good and safe. I hope you're enjoying the weekend, and I hope you're ready for Halloween in California. At least in Los Angeles, you're not able to trick or treat, but hopefully treats will be coming to us and no more tricks from members of Congress. If you've not subscribed to this channel, please do. Let's try to add about 1,000 subscribers a day, and let's keep it going. We've been doing really well today. Also, let's go to the Funnest channel and hit that subscribe button. It's on the front of the channel, and hit the alert button so you get alert when a new video goes live. Minutes ago, I was in a live chat with viewers of this channel on the blue moon tonight, and those are viewers who had hit the alert button so they didn't miss the live chat. A lot of fun. Also, like the video. It's really helping. Our videos are ranking really high in the rankings today. In Afternoons LALATE's recording right now, which starts Afternoons LALATE. Following this is Hazard Pay, then Mitch McConnell versus Trump, and then Street and Stimulus, our new hit show. I will be breaking down the major events of your stimulus, second stimulus, and third stimulus check and package today. But in this video, this is what I'll be going over. Boris Johnson, the PM in England, announced what many had expected would be happening. Lockdowns. Lockdowns announced minutes ago. I made the announcement during the Super Chat of the Blue Moon recording, and it is not a surprise. But why does that impact you? How does it impact Wall Street? How does it impact your stimulus checks? And how could it impact your third stimulus checks? That's coming up shortly. Then, new statements out of New York dealing with travel. They're changing their COVID-19 restrictions on travel to the state. This could ultimately impact how we look at the issue of stimulus and states, state by state. It's a big, bold issue. Finally, the final days before the election. And why are lockdowns becoming the major issue, especially amid concerns about stimulus checks, and stimulus packages in a lockdown? It's a big ticket item, and the question is whether the two sides will get entrenched in it deeper in the final days before the election. All right, let's get to the breaking news. The breaking news is that England is going on lockdown. It's a determination that is not surprising to millions of watchers, including the viewers of this channel. We all anticipated in England to go on lockdown. Earlier this week, we started on Tuesday as President Macron of France announcing lockdowns for his country. Those lockdowns continue to December 31st. Then Germany announced lockdowns, a little bit less stringent, and those continue to about Christmas time. And then minutes ago came England, Boris Johnson, who of course many see as sort of a Trump-like leader overseas. They align in similar policies, and he himself initially battled the issues of the virus, but ultimately succumbed to contracting the virus, announced lockdowns minutes ago. His lockdowns mirror those of France. Basically, you cannot leave your home unless you are going to work or shopping for groceries, medical reasons, education, or essential purposes. Pubs, bars, restaurants are closed except for takeaway or delivery, which is exactly how it was here in Los Angeles when this channel first launched. When I launched the very first recordings on April 25th, I was taping on the beaches of Hermosa Beach where restaurants were open for takeout, and certainly to say I contributed to purchasing a few things to drink before that first recording, as is well reported on this channel. Some industries cannot work from home, like manufacturing and construction, but those will be allowed to continue. Schools, ironically, will be open in England all the way to December 31st. The UK is reporting 22,000 cases per day, but today in America, we're approaching 100,000. We were at 77,000 a day last week. This Thursday, we shot to 88,000. All those are records. Then yesterday, we were at about high 98,000, 95,000. And it's expected we surpass 100,000 by the end of the day. The question is whether we will continue to grow it at about a rate of 10,000 per day over the coming days. And how about that as well? England grappled with the issue of how to deal with lockdowns and the scope of lockdowns, which is important as we look to the United States minutes from now, because how much of a lockdown do you do is also an issue. The idea that there's some perfect time to act is a complete misapprehension, said an analyst for BBC. All the solutions are bad, and England chose the bad set of solutions. Let's see how this goes over the next few weeks. We have to balance scientific advice with the consequences of people's lives for people's mental health, people's livelihood that comes from lockdown measures, said Boris Johnson. I'm not going to pretend to you that these judgments aren't incredibly difficult. We have to change with the changing patterns of the virus. And alas, we're seeing now it's a pretty consistent surge. We have to deal with it. Dealing with it is the big battleground today in the United States between Joe Biden and Donald Trump in the race for the presidency. How to deal with the surges of the virus and how to deal with lockdowns, how to deal with stimulus, and how to deal with stimulus checks is a real battleground. Let me explain to you where we are right now. First, the President of the United States claims we do not have surges of COVID-19 cases. He claims we are turning the curve and that it's almost gone. Not true. But when you talk to his chief of staff, Mark Meadows, he says we are not turning the curve, but rather what we are doing is we're approaching therapeutics and vaccines within the next 30 days. That is categorically correct. I've been detailing over the last 7 days that Merck, by December 31st, will likely, by its own account, no one else's account, Merck's account, have a 5-day pill that you can take in the confines of your home, just like Advil. You get a prescription for it. You pop a pill one day, next day you pop another pill. Just a simple pill, a tablet. Take it with some milk, and the virus is out of your system. You're not cured of the virus. It's just gone. Then there is suggestion that the leading vaccine candidate will have its vaccines ready by January. By all accounts, Mark Meadows thinks that this path to getting vaccines and therapeutics done quickly will ultimately alleviate the needs for lockdowns. So the president is saying he's not doing lockdowns. On the other hand, the president's claiming that Joe Biden will be doing lockdowns. What's important to understand is that, one, Joe Biden has not said he's going to do lockdowns. Two, that presidents in the United States don't announce lockdowns. They don't have the authority to announce lockdowns. It's an issue of state determination. And ultimately it depends on your governor, your county, and your mayor. But here's the big rub. And this is what I've been having the Purple Power, the followers of this channel, really focus on in the recent days. And I want you to stay focused on it right now, because you need to be on social media, tagging your congressman, tagging your governor, tagging your mayor, is that if the city or county or governor wants to put you on lockdown in the next few weeks, who's to pay you the stimulus for it? It's not the city, the county, the governor, because they don't have the money. They simply just don't have the money. I don't care if you take the richest city in the country. They don't have the money. They look to the federal government to do that for you. And so ultimately, will the federal government do it for you? The bad news, as we sit here today, is that when we look at the Democrats and we look at the Republicans, whether you look at the Temple Doom or we look at Steve Mnuchin, neither side has written a bill that would provide you stimulus checks if you're on lockdown. Yes, I've been referring to it in all the videos every single day for the last 2 days, and I'm going to continue to record on them, what I call lockdown stimulus or third stimulus. This is stimulus that would ostensibly start in December and carry you to March. Of the Republican and Democrat proposals, neither of their second stimulus packages, which is before lockdowns, continue past December. They expire before the lockdowns. So how can you have stimulus relief? How can you have a lockdown with no stimulus relief? You can't. In the cases of England, Germany, France, they put their citizens on lockdown by federal announcement, and then they give them stimulus relief. Here in the United States, the federal government doesn't put you on lockdown. That they need to pay for the stimulus because the states and counties don't have the money. They can't declare bankruptcy under the Constitution. Rather, they look to the federal government to give you the stimulus. So how much stimulus are you owed? Let's go over that right now. You're owed a lot of stimulus. Let me do the last stimulus, which I was talking about. You're owed stimulus if you're going to be put on lockdown. No one can stay in the confines of their homes with no job, with no income, with no salary, and be able to afford rent, mortgage, utilities, and not have a mortgage forbearance, a rent eviction moratorium, or any type of protection. Ironically, nowhere in the first or second stimulus packages are those protections carried after December. So if you're on lockdown past December, the federal government has not prepared you accordingly for anything. They haven't prepared you not to be evicted. They haven't prepared you not to be lose your home in forbearance, in foreclosure. They haven't protected you with your student debt. They haven't given you a stimulus check. They haven't prepared you for FPUC. They've literally done nothing. They haven't written anything. And so that's why I'm asking Purple Power to really step up, because if they want just to go on lockdown, they better write a bill right now. It takes weeks to write a bill. It takes weeks to pass the law. It takes weeks to send out the money. And if the lockdown's just a few weeks away, where is the money coming from? That's the first thing. Then we talk about the second stimulus package. That is everything before this lockdown. As you and I are sitting here today, some counties across the country have restrictions about what you can do. But the vast majority of the United States is not yet on lockdown, but you're owed second stimulus. That's for this period when you're not on lockdown. This is the period from basically about May to the present. It's about a 6 to 7 month period. This is the second stimulus package period. This is when your businesses came off of lockdown and they reopened. They put the dining tables outside. This is when you started driving back to work, or you were doing remote Zoom work from home. Or this is the period in time in which you're an SSDI, SSI, Social Security, or Railroad Benefit viewer, and you saw milk and eggs went up because of inflation, and you need a stimulus check. Okay, during this period of time, this is when the two sides have negotiated back and forth and not reached an agreement. That agreement needs to get done because you're owed money for this period. Now and then I get a comment that someone says, where in the Constitution does it say you're owed money? It doesn't say anywhere that you're owed money. But ultimately, they can't be giving other people money and not you. They can't be giving big business money and not you. They can't be giving airlines money and not you. They can't be giving hospitality money and not you. Why? Because there'll be literally a revolt. There'll be civil unrest. I mean, you can't keep on giving money to rich people and not giving money to poor people. You can't be giving money to one part of the economy and not part of the other economy. And that's what's important. So as you look at these announcements from England, what should you be concerned about right now? What you should be concerned about is on Monday morning, when you tune into early mornings LALATE and you're getting ready for mornings LALATE, you're going to see something, and it's going to be the stock market crashing. I told you a week ago, when the COVID-19 cases in the United States went to 77,000 to 83,000, that Wall Street is going to crash. Wall Street does not like COVID-19 cases going through the roof because it doesn't like lockdown. It doesn't like a lack of stimulus without lockdown. It doesn't like lockdown without lack of stimulus. It doesn't like the fact that there hasn't been the second stimulus done, and it doesn't like election uncertainty. Well, guess what? Coming into Monday, we got all that and more. So this is not a good time, and it shows how partisanship really has gone screwy. As we look to these final days before the election, and we look at Joe Biden, we look at Donald Trump, what should we think about for our stimulus? Well, There's Joe Biden, who has not said a single word about stimulus. His VP candidate wrote the bill, Ms. Harris, Senator Harris, for $2,000 every month for 6 months until the pandemic improves or unemployment goes away. I think it's and. I think it's not an or, actually. Sometimes I say or. I think it's an and. That situation is not gone. So 6 months has passed. That's $12,000. Since being announced as the VP running mate, she has not talked about her own bill. But the bottom line is that Joe Biden has said zero about stimulus. He's not said anything about how much stimulus he would give you. And by all presumptions, Democrat governors would put you on lockdowns. We know that because they did it before. So let's turn to Trump. Trump, stimulus checks. He's promised stimulus checks every month for 6 months. How many stimulus checks has he given during that period of time? None. Is he going to do lockdowns? No. Can he do lockdowns? No. He's the president. The president cannot announce lockdowns. Okay, so if Democratic states give you lockdowns, will the president send out stimulus checks? For example, if California goes on lockdown with a Democratic governor, will the president send out stimulus checks to the people of California who are on lockdown? I don't know the answer. Maybe you know the answer. I can only presume the answer is a big flat no. The president has certainly said Democratic governors are blamed for a lot of things. And so guess what? If we see surges of COVID-19 cases increase in the United States and Democratic governors say our states are going on lockdown, and then those states look to the federal government to send out stimulus relief to you on lockdown, do you think the president's going to send it out? Hard to say. Hard to say from a president who doesn't want lockdowns. Finally, let's get to New York. New York is sort of an example. Governor's Democratic. He announced a change for travelers into his state minutes ago. Ending requirement that travelers quarantine for 2 weeks. He'll now require travelers to test for COVID-19 before coming in and then test for COVID-19 3 days after entering the state. Okay. More twists and more turns. The bottom line is cutting back travel is not a necessary solution when COVID cases are out of control everywhere. Let me answer some incredible comments and questions. Please stay tuned for the next video after this, Purple, where I continue to deal with what could happen next week for your stimulus, big developments, and then McConnell versus Trump and 5 Street and stimulus. Maryland Smith, we need multiple stimulus checks now. Derillo, I'm on SSDI. I can hardly afford to buy food. The prices are too high. We need stimulus checks immediately. That's a great comment, Dernolo. What I've been talking about is the cost of things have gone through the roof. That's why we need stimulus checks right now. Renee, the Federal Reserve needs to send everyone $4,000. Don Castle, without stimulus, Christmas shopping is going to look horrible. Tammy, got on my positive and all my fingers are crossed. We all need this so badly. Amen, Tammy Kennedy. Michael Ucci, when is Congress going to stop concerning about themselves and lobbyists and get it done? Luis Sabarini, the longer they wait, the harder it's getting it. Steve Schiffer, God bless everyone. My prayers go out to everyone. We're all American. Let's get through this and stand up. Amen. Devin Draper, it's funny how everyone besides the ones that can make stimulus happen want... It's funny how everybody besides the ones that can make stimulus happen want this. Our government, I swear. Susan Bullock. I'm so tired of this. We need help. Pooh, the people are telling him, Pooh, he needs to send out stimulus right now. Amen. If you have questions or comments in today's video, drop them in the comments below. I may feature them in tomorrow's recording. I love your comments. Keep them coming. Go to Friends channel, subscribe, because no one's going to get through this better and quicker for you than you and I. Also, like this video. Coming up next is Purple, with continuation of the major developments on stimulus this weekend, and there's big developments across the board. As always, stay informed, stay smiling, and stay with LA for more.